Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the Skip Barber Monday Lights Racing Series. We're coming to you live tonight from Sebring International Raceway for the final round of this season, and it's going to be a great one as always, Alex.
Yeah, thanks Bernie. Great to be back for the final round of Season 8, if you can believe it. The 8th season of Monday Night Lights drawing to a close here tonight. We've got a fantastic field lined up. Strength of field tonight, once again in the top 5. In fact, third strongest for the Reek at 3,762, which is a fantastic turnout given that it's the closing round of the season, Bernie, so I'm really looking forward to a fantastic race.
Yeah, so am I, and we've got 18 in the top split, folks. We've got 3 splits of 18 each, but you can see Luke Whitten out there. I watched last race, and I think Luke won by over 5 seconds, so I'm sure he's looking at backing that up again tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, Bernie. He had a great win in the Australasian Super Skips round last night. He'll be looking to back it up again tonight and secure his spot at the top of the championship in this event as well, Bernie.
Yeah, certainly will be, and we're riding with him now as I just check the camera, and we'll see how he's going. He's currently on his first flying lap now, and I think you're saying off air they only get 2 flying laps here at the most, and then they're going to pretty much run out of time.
Yeah, that's correct, Bernie. It's about a 2.5 minute lap around here, so with a 7 or 8 minute qualifying lap, you just got enough time to get your out lap and 2 hot laps in if you get a wriggle on at the start. So good track conditions tonight, a bit cooler than last night's race for the Australasian Super Skips, and I'm sure the drivers that are backing up will appreciate the extra grip, Bernie.
Yeah, we're looking at the weather at the moment, folks. Mostly cloudy out there. Wind speed 14 kilometres an hour, and as you're saying, Alex, the track temp's only 31 degrees Celsius with an air temp of only 25 degrees. So, yeah, the drivers will enjoy those cooler conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. This track, not only is it flat as a board, built at a former, or actually a present-day US Air Force base. You got a lot. It's a very flat track, as I was saying, but no camber on any of the corners. But a lot of it's concrete as well. Quite a historic track here at Sebring. But what that means, a combination of concrete and no camber, very flat. You tend to find the guys will get a bit loose in the rear, more so than you would generally expect in these cars with properly cambered corners. But like I said, with the lower temps here tonight, they'll get that bit of extra grip, so it should make for an exciting event.
Oh, it certainly will. And the interesting thing about this track, it's always a struggle. It always has been for me. The final corner, that under the bridge there, that hairpin, that's a shocker for setting up, and then of course corner 1. So they're probably the bumpiest 2 corners on the track, but I'm sure a lot of drivers would spend a lot of time trying to make sure the car doesn't break loose too much through those sections.
Yeah, correct once again, Bernie. Turn 17, Sunset Bend, the last corner here. This configuration here is essentially a big loop as they go to close out their lap. I said it last night and I'll say it again, if you can make it through there safely the same way, or taking the same line 2 times in the same race, you're doing really, really well. And additionally, as you say, the turn 1 is really quite deceptive. It looks like you could drive about 13 semi-trailers wide through there, but there's really only one strong line, but you might see some guys try to take 2 or 3 tonight, and it'll be interesting to see what comes as a result.
Yeah, well, turn 1's tricky because it's wide as you come in, but then those bumps tend to push you out, as we see Bob Battala now wrestling it, push you out towards that ripple strip, or even worse, the dirt.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. You get out on the outside there. If you grab a rear tyre on the dirt there, you very quickly see the rear of the car step out. And because of the nature of being on the outside, it'll flick you back into the inside, potentially into oncoming traffic, which of course no one would like to see here tonight.
Exactly right, and we've seen big incidents here previously in other categories, so let's hope we don't see that tonight. But your top 5 at the moment, folks, have finished their first flying lap. Bob Battala has provisional pole, 2:24.487. Victor Carrizosa, he's sitting in second at the moment with a 2:24.806. Ben Furhoff sitting in third with a 2:24.880. Then Borgia is in fourth, 2:24.912, and Matthew Thomas rounds out your top 5 with a 2:24.952. Looking at Luke, he did I'm not sure if it was counted, 2:24.612.
No, it looks like he's got an off-track during his opening lap around the track, Bernie, so he'll be relying wholly and solely on his second lap, which, of course, as the ponies wake up in these things, the second lap will often be your better one anyway, so he'll be driving around nervously, no doubt, but certainly hoping to put a banker in on his second trip round.
Yeah, certainly wants to not start up the back where he currently sits, as we see him now coming through the final chicane onto the back straight here. And we'll see what sort of time he can do. But while he's coming down the back straight, let's look at the point score. So Luke Whitten at the moment leads with 225 points. Russell Clark second on 198. Kevin Henderson in third with 183. Dennis Fiedler on 157 in fourth. And rounding out your top five is Jason Willman on 155. So from what we're speaking about off air, we don't really see a lot of movement, maybe between Dennis and Kevin.
Yeah, that's right, Bernie. The top two, Luke and Russell, have really locked in their place, even taking into account drop rounds. Dennis, if he has a stellar result and Kevin fails to score points, taking drop rounds into account, he could jump Kevin. Jason Willman, I mistakenly called Brian Inglis as the top second split runner. Jason, struggling to crack it for a top split run this season, is our leading second split runner in fifth. Brian Inglis in sixth is another second split runner. Darryl Ridley could be the real dark horse here, Bernie. He's run four second split races with a bonus point for pole already this season. If he does that tonight, there's every chance that he could jump up well into the top five and grab even fourth or maybe even third position, Bernie.
Well, it sounds like we should have covered the second split tonight, because that's where all the action sounds like it's going to be. But the drivers are going to be gridding up very shortly, folks. So let's go through the grid while they're doing that, and then we'll be straight into this race. So I'll just click another button. Where am I? There I am. Okay, so... Okay, Victor Carrizosa took pole position in the end with a 2:24.075. Luke Whitten will start out of second tonight, followed by Bob Batala in third. Ben Furhoff, he starts out of fourth. Out of fifth tonight will be Matthew Thomas. Starting out of sixth will be Borgia, followed by Kevin Henderson in seventh. Ben Snell will start out of eighth tonight. Then we've got Hakon Grebstad out of ninth. 10th is Carlos Uria Sainz. Call him Carlos Sainz. Sergio Hidalgo will start out of 11th, followed by Tim Hendrickson in 12th. Russell Clark, he's going to start out of 13th tonight, with 14th going to Gustavo Condi. Stephen Wareham, he's going to start out of 15th tonight, followed by Christian Gabanka. Benjamin Soko down there in 17th, and 18th is Marcus Girac.
Yeah, interesting to see Marcus all the way back. He's the top rated driver in the field with an I rating of 5931, and that's quite an impressive feat to manage. Doesn't look like he set a time at all. So car number one, starting from 18th, be interested to see if he can make his way through the field, Bernie.
Yeah, and revs are rising here for the final round, waiting for green. He held him for a while there. A bit of a jump start by Luke, so let's hope he doesn't get pinged there. But a big incident up the back already. It looks like someone was slow off the line who got taken out. We'll have a look at that a bit later, folks, because as they come in the corner the first time, with Bob Batala, I think Luke Whitten's going very wide. I have a feeling he's got a black flag.
Yeah, he is running very, very wide there, Bernie. Just trying to take his position at the rear of the field. He's really at the tail end there, Bernie. I'm not sure what happened to him. I'll go back and see if I can grab a look.
Yeah, I saw him jump the start, so I'm suspecting he's been pinged for that and he's pulled it over. But at the moment we've got Ben Furhoff leading, Victor in second, third Bob Batala, Borgia, he's up to fourth already. Kevin Henderson, he's gone from seventh up to fifth, so he's looking really racy. A few incidents. We've got another car in the background skating off the circuit as well, and we'll have a look at who that was. But as they come through the hairpin for the first time, it's looking relatively clean. 3 cars probably at the moment affected. One of them is Carlos Sainz, as he's trying to get that car home with the broken wing.
Yeah, it looked like Matthew Thomas failed to grab a gear off the start, and no less than 4 cars collided with him by the looks, Bernie. Hence, there's a bit of carnage throughout the field. Matthew himself in pits. Carlos, I think, might have been caught up in that. I'd be surprised if Russell Clark got away without any damage as well, Bernie. There was a fair bit going on there.
Yeah, it certainly was, and the question's going to be, we're going to jump back to this start and try to see if Luke did jump it. I do have a feeling he has, because he's nowhere to be seen at the moment. Where is he? I can't even see him out there. Yeah, there he is, 14th at the moment, with a lot of work to do.
Yeah, surprisingly, it looked to me like he did jump the start as well. He'll be carrying a black flag penalty where he has to pit. Did a very gracious thing, I would suggest, in pulling over and letting the field by, knowing that he has to take a penalty, a 15-second stop-go penalty, as my understanding of a jump start, Benny.
Yeah, so we'll see if he peels in, but it doesn't take much, does it? Because the car barely lurched, but you know, in iRacing simulation, it doesn't matter how far it moves, you're pretty much going to get done, because you can't sort of trick a computer. As we now see Victor Carrizosa getting a bit loose here, Bob Battaglia coming up on the outside of him, outside next corner, and yeah, they're starting to sort themselves out.
Absolutely, you've got a front pack of at least 5 there, Bernie. Looks like 5 have settled down up the front there. They're going too wide through the corners, as we see Victor Carrizosa now left out to hang out to dry out the rear at the wide angle of the corner there, Bernie. Had to check up a few behind him because of the lack of pace there. Ben Furhoff, after taking the early running, has come back to the field a little bit. Looked like he had a bit of a clean break, so he may have made a bit of a mistake early on that first lap, allowing the others to catch up and give us a race in 5, Bernie.
Yeah, so I can also confirm Luke Whitten has served his stop and go. He's coming out of the pits now. As you said, the other 2 cars affected. Matthew Thomas, he's had his car fast repaired, sitting in 17th, and of course Sergio Hidalgo, well, he's looking like he's not going anywhere fast, and that car looks totally trashed.
Yeah, it's a shame for Sergio, Bernie. This front 5, I tell you what, they check right up at the hairpin there as they head around for lap 3, I think we're up to now. Lap 2, I beg your pardon, as they come down into Cunningham now. They really checked up, allowing, looks like Håkon and Tim Hendrickson leading the charge for the second pack, Burning. Håkon and Tim have been racing quite well the last few weeks. Joined our little fraternity down here in the ANZ Club from overseas, of course, but they've been going really strongly with Håkon himself grabbing a second position in the Australasian Super Skips Club race last night, having a great tail end of the season, Burning.
Yeah, it's great to see, isn't it? And there's one car I don't see out there tonight, and that is the pink and white polka dot car. So that's Sorrentes. I'm not sure where he is tonight, but I definitely missed his car out there.
Yeah, I couldn't see him either, Bernie. Looks like he's missed the final round, which is unlike him. He's been there for pretty much all of the others from my recollection of it, as the leaders up front are now starting to pick different lines to try and play some strategy and games into the final corner now. Ben Furhoff forced to go to the outside by Bob Battaglia as they run through Sunset Bend at the tail end of lap 2 now. 2 wide again through Sunset. You'll find Ben Furhoff will get quite a good drive there out of that corner and actually pull back into line there, 1, 2, 3, with Victor Carrizosa pulling in third there. Ben now moving out to the inside to take the first corner on the start of lap 3, Bernie.
And we're riding on the gyro cam with Borgia here. You can just see how much this car moves as they go through turn 1, and he's got a really good run there and starting to close in on Victor and Bob.
Yeah, look, they're going too wide for second space. It's looking like Victor looking at the inside of Ben Furhoff there. Ben really not knowing which car to defend. He was line astern with third position as second. Oh, getting a poor drive out of there, Victor, leaving Bob Battaglia in third, nowhere to go, losing all the drive and giving Ben Furhoff potentially a chance to skip away, Bernie.
Yeah, that's what Ben's looking for, as we see now. Bob Battaglia covering it off. He's gone the inside. Who's that? Kevin Henderson's joining the party, and he's an exciting driver. We'll see what Kevin can do. Started 7th tonight, up to 5th, but he's got his work cut out for him now, and we've got Håkon. He's the last one in this pack of 6.
Yeah, Hawkon's been able to grab on the back of this pack, Bernie, after the sort of battling that was going on ahead. Now, he's got a 1.3 second gap over Marcus and Tim behind them, although I did hear a bit of action there. Marcus looks to have had an incident as they went through Cunningham on that lap, Bernie.
Yeah, we had the camera on him and that car's absolutely trashed. He got, we'll have a look at the replay. He pretty much got cleaned up under braking there, and we'll see if we can get a better view of what's occurred here.
Yeah, it looks to me like he's taking the inside defensive line. He's moved over part way. He probably could have gone a bit further, and then he's misjudged his braking, run a bit hot. The rear of the car stepped out. He's interlocked wheels with Tim Hendrickson there, had a bit of net code, and he's been turned around. And unfortunately with him has gone... who's that? Stephen Wernham, a very strong international driver, Bernie, who's also been caught up in that accident, not of his own making.
Yeah, he was the victim of all that, wasn't he? And yeah, live to fight another day. That's my motto. But we'll get back to the racing here. We've got Victor Carrizosa leading, Bob Battala in second. My, how things change in a lap around here in a skippy. Ben Furhoff, he's down to third, and all that work to do. I guess we're going to see a fair bit of this as this race unfolds tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, Bernie. We're now in that pack of six, as we were talking about. Hawkon being able to bridge that gap through a combination of pace and battling up front, as we see Bob Battala run wide there, giving Ben Furhoff the run. He'll have a look up the inside of turn 3 now as they go through at the start of lap 4. Bernie, again, too wide everywhere. It makes for spectacular racing, if not very fast for these guys attempting to get away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, it certainly makes for exciting racing. We saw Zazo there get a good run, or Borgia, and Kevin Henderson now. We'll see what he can do as they come into the hairpin. Heavy braking down here, folks, and this is probably one of the areas where you can really come undone if you miss that braking marker.
Yeah, absolutely, Bernie. We saw a few little, I guess you call them railway carriages. Picture a railway carriage where the front one stops and the next one's still got a bit of momentum and punts the one in front. But unfortunately, these guys aren't all attached like a railway carriage, and it doesn't end as quite as well as it does in the trains, Bernie. But yeah, that corner you were talking about, the hairpin turn 7, is probably primary passing opportunity, with the exception of down the Ullman Straight into Sunset Bend, Bernie.
Yeah, exactly right, and we'd like to give a have a look. Yeah, like to give Coatran a shout out. It looks like he's watching from Finland, so welcome. Hope you're enjoying it. Also to Timu Vascalampi that says he's looking at possibly starting work on, or skipping work on Monday, so he can have a run with us.
It's been known to be done. You may remember one of our most prolific winners, Enzo Cantor, used to have an interesting arrangement with his work so he could join us here on a Monday night. Timu's a fantastic skippy driver, a lot of pace, great to race with. It'd be fantastic to have him here regularly on a Monday night, Ben.
Yeah, it definitely would be, and when I read the name, it definitely sounded familiar to me. So it'd be great to have Timu join us, that's for sure. All you got to do, mate, is put on a cough, probably on the Friday, every Friday, and then not go in on the Monday. Oh, as we see, who's that running wide? Carrizosa, was it?
Ben Furhoff on the exit of Sunset there. You can get fantastic drive if you're forced to run the outside now, as we see around that corner, as you see Ben move over and really try to go defensive on Kevin Late, forcing who's that to run wide there. Oh, it wasn't Hawkon, it was Borgia who got forced to run really wide and lost all drive out of turn 1. It looks like Bob Battala and Victor Carrizosa may well have got a bit of a gap here. Oh, again, there's a big touch going into turn 3 there between Kevin and Ben by the looks, Bernie.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Ben was getting a bit loose there, but I think he got a bit of a helping hand, and I tell you what, turn 1, Kevin put the nose in, being a cheeky little man he is, and he thought he was going to take that position. I shouldn't call him a cheeky little man. Them's fighting words, aren't they?
Yeah, well, that's it. No, it looks like Ben Furhoff got a bit of his right rear on the grass in combination with braking. Lost it all of his own making there, but what that has done is accentuated the gap at the front too. Bob Battala and Victor Carrizosa have been able to make, and they're out now by, 2.2 seconds, as we see Kevin now looking up the inside of Ben Furhoff as they approach the hairpin on lap 5, Bernie.
Yeah, well, Ben had two wheels in the grass there, trying to get on back on the inside of Kevin, and he's looking very racy there, taking quite a few chances in this pack, and we can see him now trying for the undercut. That's not going to work. He's going to have to wait to see if he can get another opportunity up here, but he has to watch out for Hakon, because Hakon's right behind him and he'll jump if he gets a chance.
Yeah, 100% correct as always, Bernie. Yeah, Hakon's got a lot of pace around here, had fantastic results around here this week. I've had a great few tussles with him, but he's invariably managed to get the better of me on track, and certainly a great guy to race with, and certainly showing his skills out here tonight.
Yeah, definitely is, and I definitely approve of his paint job. Who we lost? Kevin Henderson's gone.
Oh, that's a sketchy re-entry there from Kevin. He ran wide coming out of Le Mans onto the Ullman Straight, and as he came back on, not fully in control, was all but Ben Verhoef was all but taken out on that re-entry. Now as Ben looks to the inside to maintain his position, forces Hakon wide, but once again Hakon will be looking to get the best drive out of that corner, taking the wide angle coming in. He's now side by side with Borja, who's coming back after being left behind the previous lap. But 5 laps to go, it really shows you what sort of battling will do to bring guys in and out of play, Bernie.
Well, I'll tell you what, when Kevin made that re-entry, I'd flash back to last week when, I've forgotten his name, he exited stage right and spun straight across in front of the field there. So I thought that was going to happen again tonight.
Yeah, very similar. It was Dennis Johansson. I was talking to him about it today. He was going to hopefully make this race tonight and make a better fist of it. He's had some fantastic race results around here this week, but he was going off to have a nana nap. Looks like his alarm didn't go off, Bernie. So, but meanwhile, back to the race, we've got Bob Battalla and Victor Carrizosa. They've made the running. They're gone. At this stage, if these guys don't settle down and start racing a bit smarter, they've got no chance of catching. But with Hakon on the front of this pack, along with the other guys in there, very, very fast driver. If he can settle these guys down from the front and get their head down with the balance of 5 laps remaining, Bernie, they are still a shot at catching them.
Yeah, well, I think it's a bit like cycling. Yes, I've been watching a bit of that lately. I think Hakon now, with Ben, they've got to put their head down and try and break away from Kevin and Borja. But if that doesn't work, Hakon's going to have to do it on his own and just get away from these guys if he can.
Yeah, that's right, Bernie. It looks like Victor and Bob Battalla have settled in now. They've recognised that they've got just over a 4-second break on this trailing pack, and the battling's really cost these guys that opportunity, and now they're left with fighting for the minor position on the podium there.
Yeah, and then further back we've got Tim Hendrickson fighting with Ben Snell and Christian Kabunka. These three are having a great battle and fighting just as hard as the angry pack just ahead of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Some battling and minor incidents has taken these guys out of play as well. Christian, very fast driver from the California club. Great to see him joining us here tonight as he looks to the inside of Ben Snell as they head down towards the end of the Ullman Straight into Sunset Bend at the tail end of lap 6 now, Bernie. Surprised to see him that far down the field, actually. He's a very quick driver. And Tim Hendrickson, as I said previously, just on the head of that pack of 3 there, he's had some great results here tonight as they cross the line with 4 laps remaining.
Yeah, this race is going pretty quickly, isn't it? As we see now, Hakon is leading this battle pack, but further up we've got Bob Battalla fighting that with Victor Carrizosa, and Victor's got that car sorted now. And then further back as we see them come through, as I said, Hakon, Ben Verhoef, Kevin Henderson. Kevin looks like he's settled down a little bit, and so is Zazo, who's just dropping off the back probably by a couple of car lengths.
Yeah, he's about 4/10 behind. He'll get a good run up here through the big bend down into the turn 7 hairpin there. He'll get back on there, no problems. Although he's making a liar out of me. He's dropped further down, back down, just over half a second, still within the toe. But I'm wondering if he pulls back in now. He's got the clean braking line and not having to check up with the others, so he's back on there, Bernie. But it's all sort of working out to be too little too late unless the 2 up front start playing silly buggers again, Bernie. This 4 have really got their work cut out for them to try and get back on.
Yeah, they certainly do at the moment. Victor's having a look, but he's not decided it's time to start fighting full on for this position yet. Give him another couple of laps and it should heat up. that has allowed these four to drop off the back slot, well, quite a bit. The gap, folks, 4.6 seconds from Hakon up to our leader, Bob Batala.
Yeah, Hakon now leading for a few laps of that second battle pack there, Bernie. He's doing a great job trying to bridge that gap, but not making too much run of it. We know Bob Batala's lightning fast, and it's interesting. Car number 3 is leading car number 15. Now, normally you'd be questioning the merits of car number 15, but in such a strong field, 15 out of 18 cars, car number 15's already still got a 3200 I rating, Bernie, just showing how tough it is to get into this top split and the quality we can see on display.
Yeah, it certainly is pretty tough now that the word's out about this. We're getting a lot of great European drivers come down to join us, and it's wonderful to see. And it's definitely making our Aussie guys work for any wins. And Bob Batala, where's he from? Ireland, is that right?
No, he's from the Iberian club, Bernie, so that comprises my understanding of the Spanish drivers and those from the Portugal region as well, if I'm not mistaken. So both Bob and Victor Carrizosa from the Iberian club tonight leading the way.
Yeah, so Ben Furhoff, is he an Australian or is he English or American or where's he from?
Ben's the leading Australian here tonight, with Kevin sitting in currently in 5th position, the second of the front running Australians. Hakon is from Scandinavia, and Borja on the back of that pack, I should say, on the back of that pack is another Iberian, Ben.
Yeah, I'm thinking for the overlays next season I might put the nationality flag, if I can, or something up there, so we can take full advantage of this international field. At the moment, though, Bob's still leading. Victor's not letting him go. It's going to be interesting to see what Victor's got left in the tank. I have a feeling he definitely has something up his sleeve. And now Hakon, Ben Furhoff, too wide, and Kevin's coming back in to have a go at this.
Yeah, it looks like with the balance of 3 laps remaining now as they go around for lap 8, Ben Furhoff's decided he's going to try and make the runnings here. He's gone too wide with Hakon for the last couple of corners. Had a look, but forced to go defensive around the hairpin, but managed to get it done there through Cunningham as they head down into Tower now. Line astern again. I think Kevin will start to get racy around here. He'll be looking to either get the great drive onto the Ullman Straight here and overtake, or maybe set up for another opportunity further down the stretch, Bernie.
Yeah, and something big has happened up front, because all of a sudden Victor Carrizosa has run away from Bob Batala. I think we're going to have to go back and have a look at this, see if there's been any coming together, because all of a sudden that elastic band has absolutely snapped.
Yeah, I'm just watching Bob Batala that lap as he headed down through Cunningham. He's got his rear tyre on the outside on the exit there. He's got a bit loose and run off to the inside of the exit of the corner there, and then that's allowed Victor to sort of skip away. He's now got a 1.5 second lead that's I have to admit closing up a bit as they cross the line at the end of lap 8 now, but I would suggest that it's Victor's race to lose at this point, Bernie.
Yeah, and Bob was lucky to keep that off the wall, wasn't he? We just saw the tail end of that mistake, but if he can pull him back in, we'll see if he can. It'll still be on, but 1.4 seconds last time across the line. Hakon 5.2 seconds down from the leader, but he's got Ben Furhoff, Kevin Henderson and Borja hanging in the back there. It's going to be interesting out of these three. Who do you think's going to take the final step on the podium?
Oh, that's a tough question, I have to say, Bernie. Borja's sitting patiently at the rear, but they're on lap 9 now, the balance of 2 remaining here. Look, very hard to say. At this point in the race, I'd want to be in first or second on the front of this pack. Guy in first can defend the last corner through Sunset if he's good enough, and the guy behind, if he gets a good run, can draft past down the Ullman Straight. So I'll be going for one of Hakon or Ben at this stage, depending on who's in front on the last lap then.
Yeah, hard questions to answer. That's why I'm asking them instead of answering them.
Yeah, that's it. Well, difficult time. I mean, you'd be better off asking it towards the closing stages of the last lap, because the key points there will be the turn 7 hairpin, who gets in front there, and then the run through Le Mans, turn 16 on the Almond Straight, and then who performs best, obviously, out of the last corner in Sunset Bend, Bernie.
All right, so we've got one more lap, then I'll ask you again.
Yeah, that's it. But these guys are certainly putting on a good show. I've been really pleasantly surprised with Borja Zazo there, sitting in 6th. Currently, Kevin gets the rear of the car quite wide there. Borja sits in behind patiently again. He showed a lot of patience here tonight, not pressing the action and costing himself or his competitors any time so much as we see now. Ben Furhoff ranging up on the inside of Håkon here. Håkon not taking a defensive line like he has done in previous laps on occasion, letting Ben go by, thinking to himself, well, okay, I'll take the run here, get into the second spot in this pack for the final lap and look to do the draft pass on that lap, Bernie.
And also Kevin's got a good run out of the final corner there, as does Borja. So a little bit of a gap for Ben now, but they'll pull him in. They already have, as they snake up the start-finish straight for the second last time here tonight. And Bob Batala, well, that elastic definitely has broken. It's down to 1.8 seconds.
Yeah, Victor's actually managed to increase his lead, which is very impressive over Bob, who we know has got good pace. Well, there we see Borja now looking to make the inside move as they head through turn 3, 4, 5 complex now. He's holding Kevin out. Kevin, we knows, quite happy to go side by side through most of the corners around here. And just up ahead of them, it looks like Ben Furhoff ran a little bit wide on the exit of that series of corners now, giving Håkon the run, but he's been forced to the outside by Ben as they head down into the turn 7 hairpin for the final time, Bernie.
Yeah, it's the pressure's starting to build between these four. I just hope they don't have a collision here, but at the moment we saw Ben running wide. Håkon's going to start putting the pressure on now. I predict I'm going to go with Håkon out of this, I think.
Oh, mate, it's a good bet. Håkon's a very heady driver. He does really well as he looks up the inside as they go into Cunningham now. Gives Ben the room. Mate, let Ben run a bit deep there. Let him make his own mistakes, so to speak, while keeping them both safe. Now, again, we've got Kevin ranging up on the back here as they head down into the tower. Seen a bit of nose to tail here this week. Håkon pulls back into line now, nice and cleanly through here. So the run you're looking for now, Kevin's, is he going to hang on to it? He's run wide. He's going to come back on again. Second excursion up in four-wheel drive territory for Kevin tonight as he drops back in behind Borja, leaving Ben and Håkon to fight it out up front, Bernie.
Yeah, we'll see if my prediction comes true this time. as we're coming into the final couple of turns here, Ben's got a pretty good run out of there, but he's going to have to watch this draft. And let's see if he goes defensive up here. I'm expecting him to jump in as the draft is now starting to take effect.
Yeah, the best run of the lot was Borja there. Ben taking defensive line. And then Borja's going to try and make this 3 wide. That's a very brave move. There's an incident there waiting to happen, and sure enough, Ben and Håkon come together in the final corner, leaving Borja and Kevin to fight it out for the line in the end there.
Yeah, there's chaos all back through the field here. There's cars running into each other, and it's sort of started a huge chain reaction. I think we're going to go back and have a look at how this all shaped out, because Håkon did hold on, but there's a lot of carnage in the back part of this race.
Yeah, look, I'm just checking out the big incident there between the guys hunting it out for the final step on the podium. After being so patient the whole race, Borja's dived to the inside, and in allowing, he's really sort of not braked soon enough, and he's dived under brakes. What that's done is it's forced Ben Furhoff to hold straight. So Ben did a great job there, not turning in on Borja, who'd really sort of pressed the issue and missed the turning point by a mile, it has to be said. Unfortunately, on the outside there, you've got Håkon, who perhaps unsighted of what's going on, has then turned in on what is a reasonable line. He's turned in with 4 car widths, space still left in, and sort of, if he'd slowed down, he would have gone straight past them. Slowed down a bit more, he would have gone straight past them through on the inside, but unfortunately collected Ben on the way through. And I have to say, who I would rest the majority of the blame on there, Borja. He's got away scot-free for third spot, Bernie.
Yeah, and right behind him we've got Christian Kabanka there and Ben Snell's too wide into that corner. As we look at the super slow-mo, we can see Huckon now rejoining right in front of them, and then Ben's had a collision with Tim Hendrickson and put Tim on the roof, and he's also collided with, who's that, Christian Kabanka. So both of those guys, wheel to wheel, have been taken out on re-entry by Ben.
Oh, I've got to tell you, that's a really, really messy incident there. The guys returning onto track, they're really got to give way to the guys on the racing line, and that's not one that Ben will look back on fondly, I would imagine. Hockon got away with one there, I have to say. He's done exactly the same thing and just sort of got lucky and timed a bit better. Those guys re-entering really should have done so a bit more carefully, and chaos has ensued, Bernie.
Certainly has, and I feel very sorry for Tim there. He's come off pretty badly out of that whole incident, but you know what it's like when you're racing, and especially after that contact, the first thing Ben and Huckon are thinking about is getting back on the track and racing to the end to get the best position. But must be said, quite a messy chain of reaction there, brought on by that braking move, I guess you could say, by Borgia.
Yeah, it certainly was a very nasty chain of events to round out the race and the season, Bernie. Like I said, I think Borgia's move was, politely called ambitious, and perhaps his talent was exceeded only by his ambition there, Bernie, and unfortunately it set off quite an amazing chain of events there to finish out the race.
Well, I tell you what, if he had pulled that off without contact, we probably would have said that was the best move of the race. So, it's a fine line, isn't it, between pulling off the most amazing move in the race and causing a bit of a carnage wreck behind you.
Yeah, absolutely, Bernie. That's certainly a valid tactic. What Borgia did, if not very ambitious. However, that inside line, you really can't afford to mess up your braking, particularly if you have made it 3 wide, and then to go and miss what I would suggest is the earlier braking marker that you need to take. And you can see he just closed right up on Ben to the point where he was actually going faster than Ben, who had taken a more sensible line and braked more appropriately. And the initiator of the move gets away scot-free. Sometimes frustrating, and I can tell you, as frustrating as Ben Verhoeven's was re-entry onto the track that caused the ensuing incident after that was, I know there'd be some frustrated guys out there based on that initial move.
Yeah, we're going to jump on board now with Borgia in the cockpit view here, and we'll put it into super slow-mo here. We pretty much know what has happened here, folks, but let's get a perspective from the driver's view and just see how much leeway there was in this move.
Yeah, look, from what I saw, there wasn't a great deal of it, and closing up on the drivers in front really at a great rate of knots, if memory serves correctly, Bernie. And you can see as part of that move, he actually, the nose of his car gets in front of Ben, and Ben's forced to keep going straight much longer than he needed to if he'd taken the corner, as he no doubt intended to. And you can see he was still going straight by the time Hockon goes to turn into the corner. And what, as I said originally, was quite a reasonable line for Hockon to take. The only thing I suggest Hockon could have done was brake a little bit more, and if he'd done, he was sweet for that third step on the podium, Bernie. He would have just cut underneath them, and the only risk he would have run was being caught up by Kevin and the trailing guys behind.
Yeah, now we're with Tim Hendrickson here. As he's coming through the corner, we can see Ben coming across now to rejoin, and contact ensued at that point.
Yeah, look, again, really tough one there. The two guys that have run wide are really trying to salvage their race, but given that they were that far off the racing line and after that incident, they're really classed as rejoining, Bernie. Hockon got away with one there, I suggest, with his rejoin, but Yeah, Ben, not so fortunate. Certainly, as you say, the most unfortunate one there was Tim Hendrickson. I'm going to let him off that one, having said that he could have made an adjustment, but it's really not up to him at that point. It's really up to the guys returning onto the track. So quite a spectacular finish to what was an eventful race, Bernie.
Yeah, it certainly was, and I agree with you there. Like, Tim could have, but it's not his choice to have to do that. It's really the guys re-entering that circuit safely. They have to give way to the guys coming through on the racing line. That's my opinion, but you know, it's really hard to say from a commentary point of view. But anyway, we'll leave it up to the drivers to sort that out. Let's have a look at the final results here tonight, and then we'll have a quick look at the point score and wrap it up from there. So the win goes to Victor Carrizosa. He won by 2.3 seconds in the end by Bob Batala in second. Borja Zazzo comes home in third, followed very closely by Kevin Henderson. Stephen Wareham, he jumps up into fifth position, followed by Hakon Grebstad in sixth. Ben Snell, he finishes seventh, with Christian Kabanka home in eighth. Ben Furhoff comes home in ninth, with Tim Hendrickson finishing in 10th position. In 11th was Benjamin Soko, followed by Luke Whitten, up to 12th. 13th was Russell Clark, followed by Matthew Thomas in 14th. 15th, Carlos Sainz. 16th, Gustavo Condi. And Marcus Girac comes home in 17th. And it looks like Sergio Hidalgo did not make that one lap in. There was quite a big incident at the start, which may have claimed him. But also Luke Whitten jumping the start, he managed to go from dead last back up to 12th. So not too bad a drive from him.
Yeah, that's right. So he's snaffled some points there, and more importantly, perhaps, although the positions were sorted ultimately already, he kept Russell Clark out of the points down in 13th. Russell was caught up in that missed start by Matthew Thomas. I'm not sure if he had to pit. Yeah, it looks like he did have to pit. Both he and Luke did have to pit in the end as a result of damage incurred when Matthew Thomas missed the start. So, like I said, there were half a dozen, 4 or 5 cars caught up in that unfortunate misstart by Matthew Thomas, and most of them, as we can see from Luke Whitten down, trailing towards the tail end of the field, Bernie.
Yeah, we'll try and have a look at that incident now. I'm just trying to see if I can actually get back to the start of the race. We can try and see if we can pick that up. So that was Matthew Thomas, wasn't it, that had that incident?
Yeah, absolutely it was, Bertie. It was Matthew Thomas there who missed the start, unfortunately. He was starting in where was he starting? Let's see, P5, I think, Bernie. And if we just sort of kick it off, it doesn't look like he was even there. I can't. I'm going to try and grab a camera view and see if I can hear his engine going. But looks like, yeah, he's moving the wheel, but no drive. So, and then there's all sorts of mayhem that ensued that as a result. Now there's a lot of room here to get by. Just some of the guys would have been unsighted and collected him. At first it was Kevin, then it was someone else, and then Russell, and everyone's just playing Matthew Thomas ping pong at that stage, Bernie.
Yeah, that was Sergio in the number 10. He didn't complete that lap, but you're right, we jumped on into the cockpit there and there's absolutely no drive. Didn't even sound like the engine was running in that car, but I guess we can't virtually put our hand up yet in iRacing. Maybe that's something I could build into.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. I've never seen that before. I mean, I know I've missed grabbing a gear at the start of a race. I did it twice at Interlagos in the earlier rounds, which was very frustrating and for those around me as much as it was myself, although I managed to get away without being collected too badly at all, and not at all in one race. But yeah, I couldn't hear him revving the engine or anything. I don't know if he had a black screen or something perhaps, but yeah, that was a challenging start for some of the highly sought after contenders this race, Bernie.
Yeah, it certainly is. And let's just have a quick look at the point score. I'm having a look in the green room as well. I think we've got Dennis Fiedler down there. We might bring him up shortly to get a report on the other split that he was in tonight. But as far as the point score goes, I really don't think it's going to change in the top three anyway, because Kevin had a good run. Russell wasn't here tonight. And what about Luke? Yeah, Luke's had a poor run, but what's your opinion? You're the man with the calculator and the expert of the points.
Yeah, well, so Luke and Russell were both... Luke scored 12 points, but that won't affect his tally because it's a low-scoring round for him. The issue there for Russell's not scoring any points, but they were pretty much locked in for their positions, taking drop rounds into account. Kevin Henderson, in finishing fourth, will secure third position. I'm just trying to find the tally from the second split tonight, which I think saw our green room waiting person in Dennis Fiedler, who's actually taken that event out. So be interesting to see. I haven't calculated the points for that, but I don't know that he'll bump Kevin. There's not enough points on offer there. So interesting. I'd say that top five, Jason Willman grabbing a top four finish there. He finished fourth in the second split, so he'll probably hold station there ahead of Brian Inglis. And I don't see Darryl Ridley, unfortunately, after starting in second position, he's bombed out and finished last in that race, Bernie. So he won't. I thought perhaps if he took that out, he might jump well up into the top five, but unfortunately, he's missed out, Bernie.
Okay. Well, pretty much from all that, it sounds like situation normal as far as where they're finishing tonight. I don't think there's been any big moves. Let's bring Dennis up. We've also got Kevin Henderson down there, and we might have a chat with these guys. Welcome, Dennis, to the RRTV Combox. Congratulations. It sounds like you took out your race and your split.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie. I did win that one. Really happy about that. But if I can't make top split with 3,000 I rating, what hope have I got?
You just need to get a little bit more I rating.
Jeez, thanks, Bernie.
That's my expert opinion. I don't know. We'll ask Alex. What was the lowest I rating driver that we had in the top split tonight?
Oh, let me just grab a quick look. Car number 18, Ben Furhoff at 3,095. So I'd suggest you were about 40 points off, Dennis. So you've had a couple go your way this season, but unfortunately not tonight.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, the second split was actually quite good. I ended up being car number one, and for qualifying, what ended up happening was Dan McGurk got a 2:24.849. Darryl was only 300ths of a second behind, and Eliu Castell was only a 10th behind Pole, and I was only 200th behind Eliu. So the top four covered by 1/10. For the second split, with Mick Gray and Jason Wellman and Ashley Work rounding out the top seven there. So in the race, we lost Darryl Ridley, who got rear-ended by Mark, just clipped his wheel, damaged his suspension, and that was the end of Darryl in the front pack. And then Elu was trying to follow me in the last corner, and I got a little bit wide and onto that grass that last corner, and he followed me. So then he actually ended up going that much further out and unfortunately hit the wall. So that was the end of his race. So then, yeah, it was just basically a straight fight between Dan, Mick Gray and myself. We all led for a bit, and on the second last lap I managed to get a draft from third place and take them both down into the last corner, come out ahead, and Dan and Mick then proceeded to fight for second place into turn one, and that just gave me enough of a gap to hang on for the rest of the lap. And then we had Dan take out second just by the merest of 1/10 margins over Mick.
Well, mate, a win's a win. Top split or second split. Good hatful of I rating and points there for you, mate. Reasonably good strength of field for the second split at just under 2,000. So, you know, I'll be copping that one on the chin without too much pain. I wouldn't have thought, mate.
Oh, I'm loving it. It's been a while since I've been in the winner's circle, so I'll take this one for sure.
Yeah, take it and run it away with the bank. But before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Look, I'd like to shout out to the whole Skippy community. I mean, we're getting pretty tight-knit community with Alex's Discord channel and Bernie as well with the RRTV stuff. There's a lot of good things happening in the community, and you guys are quite central to that. So thank you to you too as well.
Thanks, Dennis. It's great to have you up here. Thank you for your account of the second split there, mate. Bringing a bit of extra knowledge to the viewers at home, mate. And good luck for the oncoming season as well.
Yeah, thanks, Alex, and hope I beat you this time.
You never know.
Fantastic. Well, that was Dennis Fiedler, folks, winner of his second split. I'm not sure if we should bring Kevin up, considering I called him a cheeky little man on the broadcast.
he doesn't know that yet, Bertie.
No, he doesn't know that, so that's probably all right.
I'll bring him up now. You can go first.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Hey,
Kevin. Welcome to RRTV's Combox. Congratulations, mate, on coming home third. Looked like you had your hands full there in a battle from start to finish tonight.
Yeah, Bernie, I had a great race. I had great fun. I think I got fourth in the end. I wouldn't have got that except for Borges' extravagant move on the last corner.
Yeah, it was pretty full on, but quite honestly, I was expecting you four guys to come together a bit earlier in the race, because at one point we had Ben Furhoff 2 wheels off the grass with you on the outside of him, and at another time I think we had you on the grass, and it was all happening.
Yeah, it was a pretty lively event. It was action all the way. Pretty good racing by the boys there. I tell you, Ben's scary to race with. I'll tell you.
Well, from what I saw, all four of you guys would be scary to race with.
Yeah, no, it was pretty under control. That we all know what we're doing pretty much. So we just sort of, I've just been trying to be a lot more patient in my races lately, which I think started to pay dividends. I'm not making silly mistakes, not pushing as hard. Just happier to sit there and let the race unfold.
Yeah, well, when you watch a replay back, Alex has a comment in there which you need to ignore, right?
Yeah, it was all me. Yeah,
it was all
But it looked like it was very busy up there in that second pack. A bit of battling early on, let the leaders skip away. But I'll tell you what, that move into the last corner there by Borgia was ambitious, if I was to put it politely.
Yeah, it was totally, like it was never going to work. Someone was always going to crash. I was a beneficiary of it, but it was a terrible dive. Ben had nowhere to go. It was just, he got it in there, but he couldn't turn.
No, you're exactly right. Ben actually did a really good job from what we saw. He kept his wheels straight when long past when you would normally turn in, because he still had a car inside him. And unfortunately, he and Håkon had the coming together, because Håkon turned in probably unsighted of what was going on two cars inside of him. And unfortunately, despite Borgia being the initiator of that, it was Ben and Håkon who came off worse for wear, who then themselves initiated a little bit of carnage towards the end.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. It was a pretty brave move. Can I say that?
Brave and ambitious, how we go?
Yeah, what was Casey Stoner said? I think his ambition outweighed his talent, but you get that occasionally.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. I sort of got that half right, that quote there in the broadcast. I'm not sure I covered it quite right though, mate. But glad to see you've had a great season, actually. I think you're, with that result tonight, well and truly hung on to third place in the championship. You're one of our strongest supporters. I think I haven't done the tally lately, but between you and Jason Willman, you're in the fight for the most capped drivers in the series. So thanks again for supporting us as we round out season 8, mate. Is there anyone who'd like to give a shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, I've been dying to do this all season. I'd like to thank my mother, my father, my beautiful wife, and my lovely children.
all back in the pits supporting you, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, thanks again for a great season of racing, Kevin. We look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thanks, Bernie. I turned up and drive, but it wasn't for you guys. The strength of field tonight was phenomenal. 3,700 or something.
Yeah, it absolutely was. You're seeing guys, car number 18, over 3,000 ratings. So it was a nice mix of good drivers, but comparable drivers, I would have said. So, someone like Dennis who's cracked 3,000 and ends up being car number one in the second split. It speaks to the quality of the race, mate.
Yeah, I was lucky to get in there. I had a couple of shockers this week and dropped a heap of IR, so I was lucky to get in there. But anyway, it was a good race. It's been a great season, and once again, thanks, guys. I mean, without you guys, this wouldn't be what it is.
Great. That's great, Kevin. Thanks, mate, and we'll catch you next season.
Yeah, see you then. Thanks, guys. Night.
Night. Yeah, we've got confirmation also from Matthew Thomas's problem. It was pedal failure, Alex, so that's what caused the start incident.
That's tragic. I mean, that'd explain no revs on the start line, and I saw the wheel going when I hopped in the cockpit view, but that would have been a really scary moment. I'm hoping he was grabbing the mic, although unfortunately a couple of guys collected him on the way through.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty, that's for sure. But as you said, short of jumping on the mic and telling everyone you've got a problem, he may not have even known. Well, he probably did, but you don't have a lot of time to let the people behind you know, and then even then you're very lucky if you don't get cleaned up in that incident. So bad luck to Matthew. I'm looking forward to his return next season though, and of course folks, RRTV will be back to cover season 9 starting in a fortnight, and we do it all again, Alex.
Oh, mate, I'm really looking forward to it. As always, Bernie, I've really appreciated your support for the series, as I know, similar to what Kevin and Dennis said tonight in their interviews, the support that you bring to the series really helps make it what it is. It's a really big part of it. The reason why we get guys coming from, miles and miles over the oceans to join this really high strength of field. Again, you're looking at both Kevin and Dennis made a point of talking about it, the fact that on the last race, or the last week of the season, when normally you don't see many people coming out, they're all still showing up and putting on great spectacle for the viewers at home. So once again, Bernie, thank you for your support, and I'm looking forward to next season being bigger and better.
Yeah, I look on it as one of iRacing's big secrets, and it's getting out there, which is great. And we're getting more people joining us, which is even better, and the racing's awesome. But folks, RRTV is going to have a little bit of a rest now. We're in week 13. The next event we will be covering will be the 16th of June, and that's the Australian Online Supercar Championship. We confirmed today also that we'll be coming back for another season after this season is finished. That should take us through to the end of the year. 18 rounds of that coming your way after the final 2 rounds. But until then, folks, thanks for joining us tonight, and thank you, Alex, for joining me in the booth with all your commentary. It's been awesome, and you've been a great sport as I put you under the blowtorch with all my questions.
Yeah, thanks, Bertie. Just happy to be along for the ride at times. Now, I've really enjoyed it. I think this is if not our 4th season, our 3rd together, and I've learned a lot along the way, and certainly enjoyed it far more than I ever thought I would.
Yeah, fantastic. And over the break, is there anything happening on Top Split TV that the viewers can tune into?
Yeah, well, I'll be streaming at Top Split TV on Twitch. The other big event that a few of the guys from this community here of Skippy drivers is trying to do is run the 24-hour Le Mans race next Saturday, starting from about 11 p.m. So the likes of Alex John, Dennis Fiedler, Russell Clark, Hock On, who we saw out here tonight, Ian Bevan. There's a few of us pulling on the racing suit and the helmet and going to have a stab at that, Bernie. So that should be pretty action-packed. But otherwise, looking forward to recording the next episode of the Top Split podcast with Johnny Guindi, big name in the Skippy community, and really looking forward to that one, Bernie. So plenty to keep us occupied during week 13.
Fantastic. Well, the viewers, go and check out Top Split TV, and then, of course, join RRTV back on the 16th of the 6th for the V8 Supercar action. Of course, the following Sunday night, I think we've also got the Australasian Super Skips, and not sure if the Monday lights are after that or not. I'm not quite sure. But, yeah. Anyway, folks, thanks for joining us. We hope you've had a great night of racing, and we look forward to your company next time on RRTV. And good night.